tasked with assembling an elite team to travel through time. All your worlds are about to change.
Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome back to another Legends of Tomorrow episode review. My thoughts on tonight's episode of Legends of Tomorrow titled Destiny. And this is actually kind of funny because this is my first video review of the show since a few weeks ago. I was sick the last couple of weeks and I wasn't feeling too good to be on camera on Thursday nights. But here I am, feeling okay for the most part, to talk about, honestly, a really good episode of this show. I mean, was this episode... Actually, you know what? Other than a couple of things, this episode I actually thought was really, really well paced. There's a lot going on, very story driven. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from being sick, so bear with me. But just the way this episode starts out with the flashback of the team 5 months ago, and seeing, because the last episode when they sent Jax back to 2016, and obviously in this episode we find out that he was sent back to the moment when. Or the day before the team initially left, so he gives, he gets some advice about time travel and stuff from Professor Stein, and seeing their relationship, the way that relationship has developed throughout the show, and obviously because the two parts of the two parts of Firestorm, that really they are opposites. They are very different kinds of people. But the way they come in together, and they're really just their on-screen chemistry. I love Jax as a character. I love Martin Stein as a character, and I love their relationship in general. So seeing that throughout this episode, I actually really enjoyed. And the whole, again, the time travel aspect of it, so jumping back and seeing where everyone was 5 months ago. So again, that was kind of cool. The one thing starting out this episode when we see everyone, in their cells or whatever, and Kendra's being taken away to go take into Vandal Savage, and there's a little bit of a fight scene between Kendra and those guards. And I was like, oh, here we go. Yeah, finally, we're going to get some more badass Kendra. And they take her away, and she's gone literally the entire episode, and she's strapped down, and that's all they did with her. And that's where I feel like, I've brought this up in the past, I feel like Kendra, as a character, has been misused, and just, they haven't used her as Hawkgirl. They've really focused more on, romantic melodrama between her and Ray, and her and Carter. They're not focusing on the Hawkgirl aspect of the character. And I understand she can't be Hawkgirl all the time, but when she's out on missions, it's she's barely in the distance, she throws a couple of punches and then that's it. Very rarely do we have awesome moments for her as Hawkgirl, except for a couple of episodes ago when she was fighting Vandal Savage and then made that mistake of letting him live and all that kind of stuff. But the way they've handled her is just something that, for me, it hasn't really worked. And it's a shame because I like the actress for the most part. I mean, it's hard to like a character when they're not giving you enough to really like about her. Because she's just, I don't know. I don't want to keep rambling on about it. So, there's that. Finding out about Thanagar in this episode. Obviously, Thanagar is a planet in the DC universe that's very tied in with Hawkman and Hawkgirl. That's ultimately kind of the source of their power, I believe. And it's actually, Thanagar is in the DC extended universe. It was mentioned in one of the Man of Steel prequel comics. So, it's kind of cool hearing it in this universe again. And another bit of a Man of Steel reference that I noticed in this episode. At the end of the episode, when Vandal Savage got the information about, the vanishing point and everyone there being taken down and dead, with the whole Oculus thing blew up, the guy who, told Vandal Savage that was actually played one of, Zod's cohorts in Man of Steel. And that same actor also played a really old aged clone of Lex Luthor in Smallville. So I thought that was kind of cool seeing that actor again, even though he was literally just for a quick second. What else? I love the relationship between Snart and Sarah in this episode. Obviously building up to Snart ultimately sacrificing himself, and I'll get to that whole sacrificing himself scene a little bit. But the chemistry between Sarah and Snart has been one of my favorite aspects of this show. Just seeing their camaraderie and the way they fight together and their chemistry together. They're really interesting characters that they do have a lot more in common than a lot of the other characters do. So there has been that strong bond and that strong friendship between the two characters that has really been there the entire show. And I've loved seeing that. And there was a part of me that wanted them to get together, a part of me that didn't. because romance can really complicate things in these superhero shows. But the way it was handled in this episode, was it a little cheesy? A little bit. But at the same time, because I think like next week is the season finale, so they finally, they had to build up to something, at least for the fans of those two characters, at least them getting together anyway. But so I'm just gonna get right to it. When the scene where Snart sacrifices himself and ultimately Snart dies, I thought was really mishandled. Because earlier in the episode when Rip is seeing through the Oculus and he's seeing, Ray die and everything, and he tells Ray when they finally get to the Oculus, "Oh, Ray, this is the moment that you die," and then, Mick knocks him out, and then, Mick was gonna sacrifice himself, and then Snart finds out about it, runs over to Mick, knocks him out, and now he's gonna do it. Like, seriously, it's like, first Ray was gonna do it, then Mick was gonna do it, and then Snart does it, and it's like, that emotional build-up was ruined by them doing it like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it, no, I'm gonna do it, no, I'm gonna do it." Like, that ruined that scene for me, and it sucks that a part of me wants to believe that they aren't killing off Captain Cold, because Wentworth Miller has really grown on me as an actor, because when he first appeared on The Flash on the first season, it was the 4th episode in the first season, I didn't care for him all that much. I thought he was just okay, it was a little too cheesy, but he's a character, Leonard Snart is a character that really grew on me as The Flash went on, as Legend of Tomorrow went on, and he really came into his own on Legend of Tomorrow, because they gave him a lot more to do, especially with being a hero and showing a side of him that we hadn't seen on The Flash before. So I liked seeing that side of him, and in this show, again, it showcased more of Wentworth Miller's acting ability in certain aspects of it, And it sucks to see him die. I mean, this is a time travel show, so again, like I said, there's a part of me that hopes he's not dead, but more than likely he is, and if that's the case, then that's gonna suck, because I'm gonna miss him as a character. And seeing how affected everyone was, especially Mick, and Mick and his relationship is so complicated and so complex, because they've known each other since they were like teenagers, and they've done so much together, and they've been through so much, especially when, Mick was Kronos, and just seeing how even Mick as a character has grown throughout the show, because he was very, like, a one-note, like, no pun intended, hothead when we first met him, and how he was in the first few episodes, but he's a character, again, that has a more depth to him than what we were initially, like, shown. And seeing how he does care, in this episode we find out that he does care for the team, he does care for Ray, he obviously cares for Snart, so, and seeing how he was affected by Snart's death, I think that, like, the whole scene with him wanting to be alone, and then Ray comes in and all that stuff, and just seeing the look on his face, like, Dominic Parcell, again, he just, subtlety in his performance as Mick, a character that can come off as super, super cheesy sometimes, but at the same time, he's a more flawed character than the show gives him credit for, almost, so there was that. There's a lot more to this episode, like finding out that the Time Masters were responsible for Savage killing Rip's family, that everything was kind of preordained because of the Oculus or whatever. That was an interesting bit of information. I didn't think it was like that great, or that, I mean, and seeing Rip's reaction was definitely like that hit me hard. But what else? I mean, this episode as a whole, I really thoroughly enjoyed. I'm excited for the season finale. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do, and the show's already been picked up for another season, so I'm curious what they're gonna do. And I mean, my hopes for the show was that it's gonna be almost like an anthology, where each season is gonna be a different set of characters, a different story, a different setting altogether. So maybe they'll do that, but we won't find out until, I guess, either next week, or when the show comes back in October. So with that being said, I think that's gonna be it for me. So if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe below. I also review Flash as well on Tuesdays. Yesterday, I reviewed and reacted to the brand new Assassin's Creed trailer that just dropped. Also, there's a bit of news today that I thought about making a video to, but ultimately I didn't. The Supergirl show that has been on CBS for the past, since like October, it was just picked up for a second season today, but the show has moved from CBS to the CW, which begs the question, is Supergirl going to be merging with the Arrow and Flash universe. Like, is that going to be the thing now? Now that Supergirl is officially on the CW. Ultimately, I'm a little disappointed because I like that Supergirl was on its own on a different network. But seeing it join the CW family, I just hope it doesn't get too CW-fied. You know what I mean? I mean, it was cheesy. It had those Greg Berlanti-isms that a lot of his other shows have. But I still liked it, so we'll see what happens with that. So, yeah, that's going to be it. So, yeah, I'm done rambling. So, alright, have a good one, guys.